You want me to put that on my Tudor?
This one's wife. Touch Kate, and it's war. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. According to Jennifer Newton, who writes for The Mirror, this one's wife will see toughest royal action yet if she slams Kate in memoir. Yes, the much vaunted appearance of a memoir from this one's wife. As I have explained in parts passim, the likelihood of her writing a memoir is high, even though she's intrinsically lazy. The reason being, first of all, there is a considerable residual benefit. Plenty of people will want to read it, or rather, perhaps have it read to them. They'll be reluctant to feed the coffers of this one's wife, but they certainly would have a grudge interest in its content to determine how much of it comes from La La Land and amounts to huge revisions of history. We've already been treated to Finding Dollars, Funding Freedom, which was clearly the provision of the deluded content of this one's wife's personal diary, which was handed to the improbably named plastic-faced Lieutenant Omid Scobie for the purposes of dissemination to the general public. The possibility of making millions of pounds will prove irresistible to this one's wife for the purposes of gaining that money through a memoir. Furthermore, of course, it'll give her the opportunity to engage in score settling. It's not that she necessarily carries these grudges around with her on a daily basis, but rather, when somebody comes up on her radar, she needs to nullify the threat to control that they pose, and she'll have plenty of targets to choose from. There will be William, the one that got away, who she regards as someone who ought to have given in to her seductive wiles. There is, of course, the nemesis, Kate, who this one's wife has hatred for as a consequence of the fact that she is regularly praised by the press, that she is very much liked by individuals for being empathic and elegant and graceful, and of course that she's with the one that got away. There'll be King Charles, with the belief that he hasn't supported them financially and that he'd been a big old meanie to Prince Harry, forms another basis for her to take pot shots. There will be, of course, perhaps nameless individuals amongst the staff. The fact that she was accused of bullying them, something that she's always denied, means that there is a threat to control that needs to be addressed, with her talking about how she has been treated by them. Expect there to be many revisions of history. And therefore, the possibility of her writing a memoir is extremely high indeed, because it will enable her to address issues of control and the residual benefit of money. But a warning shot has been fired. This one's wife dragging the Princess of Wales in a potential new memoir would be the last straw for the royals, an expert has claimed. It has long been thought that the Duchess of Sussex may follow in the footsteps of her husband, Prince Harry, and write a tell-all book that lays bare her experience in the royal family, brief as it was. In his own book, Spare, Harry takes aim at several of his family members, most notably his brother, Prince William, who he claims physically attacked him during an altercation at Kensington Palace. "It broke my necklace!" But he also dishes on Kate and details the argument between the princess and his wife over bridesmaids' dresses in the run-up to his wedding. He also describes how Kate grimaced when this one's wife borrowed her lip gloss, and how the women had a disagreement after the Duchess of Sussex said Williams's wife had baby brain after loose cannon Louis was born. According to royal expert and author Phil Dampier, if this one's wife were to follow a similar path to her husband, it's likely that William's wife Kate would become a target. This is, of course, as I've explained to you earlier, that she's painted white and has the status, painted black rather, and has the status of nemesis. Dampier told The Sun, "Everyone will be fascinated to hear this one's wife's take on her relationship with Kate, whether she was hostile or welcomed her from the start. But he added that if this one's wife releases details about William and Kate, it really would be the last straw, and I doubt William and Kate would ever talk to Harry again. He explained, "The royals will stay quiet and soak it up, even though they will be deeply hurt by it. Their policy was for Harry and this one's wife to run out of ammunition, but unfortunately they have plenty left in the form of a this one's wife's book. The best approach is not to respond to it. It starves her of the response that she requires, both in terms of gaining control and also the fuel. But moreover, she's never going to run out of ammunition, because she simply will invent things to complain about, to smear people with, but only to the extent that they keep coming up on her radar, or that it's worth it, for instance, for the purposes of residual benefit. People have got pretty tired of the victimhood claims and the smearing of the royals. It's not gone down well at all in the United States, for example. And while she won't be able to resist doing some of that, she's not going to be able to do it over and over and over again, because ultimately nobody will be interested. And she's only going to do it for the purposes of where her narcissism deems that it's appropriate. If her narcissism deems there's nothing to be gained by her smearing, she won't do it. It isn't a given that a narcissist will always do it. It's simply the case that where it serves a purpose, as per the determination by the narcissism, that will actually happen. Accordingly, the best approach for the royal family is not to react to it. That will starve her of the fuel and won't give her the reaction that she requires. Meanwhile, another expert has claimed that Harry and this one's wife's decision to air their dirty laundry in public has damaged the idea of a family monarchy. Since sensationally quitting as senior working royals, the Sussexes have mounted several high-profile attacks on their royal relatives, especially King Charles and Prince William. In addition, their relationship with many of the royals has turned extremely sour, with them barely speaking to the monarch or Prince and Princess of Wales. And not only has it damaged personal relationships within the firm, but historian Dr. Ed Owens believes it has majorly dented the royals' image of being the best of British family life. Speaking on the Mirror's Pod Save the King podcast, Dr. Owens, author of the new book After Elizabeth, Can the Monarchy Save Itself?, also suggested it's time for the monarchy to drop its family image. He explained the story is a slightly tragic one, as it has damaged the idea of a family monarchy. This idea that this is a united group who embody, if you like, the best of British life. Originally, King Charles III's reign was going to be based around him being supported by his two trusty lieutenants, William and Harry. But when that went so disastrously wrong in early 2020, because of Harry and this one's wife's decision to leave Britain, it really put pay to that vision of the family monarchy. And then, of course, we've had the Sussexes airing their dirty laundry in public for the best part of 3 years. And again, it has done much damage to that narrative of happy family life. So, why not, as I suggest in my book, do away with this family narrative once and for all? We don't need to have this big royal family presenting themselves as moral exemplars. King Charles is uniquely placed because he knows firsthand that the idea of the family rarely matches the reality of the family monarchy. The fact is, she may attempt to sling mud at the Princess of Wales, and if she does, it's suggested that there will be a stern reaction from the royal family. However, to my mind, they don't need to go to war. All they need to do is ignore her, because the vast majority of people, apart from the deluded shuggers, will see such observations for what they are. Simply smearing. Why? Because Catherine is well regarded by many people. She is seen as having class. She is seen as being stylish and elegant. She is seen as being interested in people, that she acquits herself appropriately when it comes to the issue of her role within the royal family. She has a lot of goodwill from people, far more than this one's wife has, and ultimately it's not going to go in this one's wife's favour. More people will be sympathetic to Catherine and see it simply as the embedded nastiness that is repeatedly witnessed in relation to this one's wife. Susie Jam, below the line, reports she's already had a self-indulgent shot with Oprah, but it led to a complete lack of journalistic integrity, and this one's wife was rightly incriminated and ridiculed for her woeful take on honesty, especially how she orchestrated the collateral damage of our late Queen and Prince Philip. This one's wife's vile intent has always been her true motive. Lena64, it doesn't matter how many thousands she spends on clothes, it doesn't work because you can't buy class. The Princess of Wales, on the other hand, has it in abundance. Figgy Bush Lemons, it's been reported that her book has been rejected 3 times. Must be full of untruths and or libel-worthy untruths. Maybe spite, even without the evidence. As usual, Ellen Back replies, or it may be as bad as the bench. I Am Life suggests that the royal family should take out a restraining order against the pair. Figgy Bush Lemons, they're doing better, they're ignoring completely. How many letters did King Charles write demanding an audience and no reply? Nothing, no response to anything from her or Harold. Assertion of control by staying in a position of withdrawal there, if that is accurate. The royal family's best stance to any brickbats that come from this one's wife is to meet it with silence, not to give her the response that she expects, and that will infuriate her. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.